Every year, the research points us to several guys we feel like we have to have in our fantasy lineups. And so far, my research this offseason has pointed me to 15 guys that no matter what, when I leave my draft, I want to see as many of them on my roster as possible. Headliner Nation, as much as I would love to think that everyone watching this video has seen all of our videos this offseason, I just know it's not true. So what I decided to do was to go back to some of my best videos this offseason and grab information that a lot of you probably missed out on, and because of that, you're not drafting some of these guys that you really should be. So in this video, I'm gonna list my top 15 players that I need to draft this season. Think about them as my guys. And with each player I talk about, I'm gonna give you a few snippets of information, but I'm also gonna link the video in which I dove deep into why these are guys that I absolutely love this season. So make sure that you click the watch later button on this video so you can save it. And then when you have time, if you haven't seen every video that I talk about, you can go back through, click on them, and check all of them out. And one of the best things about our videos this offseason, we've shortened them up a little bit. So quite honestly, you could get through all of these videos in maybe an hour, hour and a half, whenever you have the free time to do so. One of the first guys I'm going to talk about is Aaron Jones. I know Jake has talked about him as well, but I brought him up in my insane efficiency video for running backs all the way back in June. And I'm going to have Taylor put the thumbnail and the date that the video released here on the screen with me. Then down in the description of the video will be the link to it so you can find that video when this one is done. But in that video, I went through several efficiency categories, ranked all of these running backs inside that area, and then tried to figure out who were the most efficient running backs from last season. And even though Aaron Jones didn't have a great year, he had the 4th best efficiency score among the running backs that I broke down. He was first in yards per attempt. He was also top 5 in tackles avoided per attempt and fantasy points per touch. And one of the biggest indicators as to why Aaron Jones could have a great 2023 is the fact that he jumped 7 spots higher from the volume to the efficiency score. Meaning if he had just had more volume or been utilized better last season, some of those efficiency numbers could really have made his upside even better. And I see people out there commenting about Aaron Jones saying that the guy has lost a step or he's not as good as he used to be. And that's just factually false, because there were only 2 running backs to score top 10 in every single one of my efficiency categories when I did this video breakdown. Yes, one of them was Aaron Jones and the other was Nick Chubb. That's a pretty darn good efficiency company to be in. What about at the wide receiver position when I broke down DJ Moore in my Don't Do This video? Now, in this video, I discussed the potential relationship with DJ Moore and Justin Fields, because you either love these guys or you hate them. There is no in between. People talk about DJ Moore being overrated and not being as good of a wide receiver as people think. Other people don't think Justin Fields is going to grow into being the passer that needs to supply DJ Moore with the volume needed. And one of the biggest things that I took a look at with DJ Moore, that back in 2022, he actually grew into being a very fantastic deep threat. This was a guy that in deep threat categories, meaning categories where he was targeted 20 or more yards down the field, he was top 10 in targets, receptions, receiving yards. The dude was really good down the field last year. And we already know that DJ Moore is a good route runner and he can win over the intermediate part of the field as well. That deep game is what would really allow him to become a complete wide receiver 1. But I already knew the pushback. People were going to say that there was no way that Justin Fields would even throw that much or go down the field that much, so that information was irrelevant. And part of that narrative is true. We know that the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields didn't throw the ball a ton last season, but there was one piece of information that really stuck out to me. When you took a look at Justin Fields' total numbers when targeting wide receivers, or really any position, 20 or more yards down the field, he wasn't that great. He ranked 16th or lower in those categories. But when you took a look at that a little bit deeper and saw that he was 7th overall in average depth of target down the field, and 16% of his total targets were 20 or more yards down the field last year, which was tied for 11th highest in the league among quarterbacks, you begin to realize that, yeah, they didn't throw the ball deep a lot last year, but they still threw the ball deep a lot compared to the amount of times that they actually threw it. And because of that, even if we don't feel a gigantic leap in passing attempts, which I'm sure isn't going to happen, we know that Justin Fields is not scared to go down the field, and we know this offense is not scared to go down the field relative to how many times they actually throw the ball, meaning those deep plays are still going to be available for DJ Moore. And as far as Justin Fields getting better this season, one of the other aspects of this video was to talk about the upgrades that young quarterbacks got at the wide receiver position and how that affected their breakout seasons. When Josh Allen broke out, he got Stephon Diggs that offseason. When Joe Burrow had his tremendous bounce back from his ACL, they drafted Jamar Chase. Jalen Hurts last year got A.J. Brown and saw MVP-like numbers. Tua took a huge step forward last season. They added Tyreek Hill. And now Justin Fields gets DJ Moore. That's huge, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested in DJ Moore or even Justin Fields, when this video is done, make sure you check out that one. I felt like I gave you a lot of really good information in my Deep Sleepers video just a couple weeks ago. And in that video, I talked about guys like James Cook, Hunter Henry, and Raheem Mostert. All three of those guys have had fabulous training camps so far. We even saw James Cook be the lead back and score a touchdown this past weekend against the Indianapolis Colts. He's being utilized on the ground and in the passing game. Also, from an efficiency standpoint, this dude, if he's given more volume, could end up being a huge breakout this season. My DRBR in the draft guide actually shows quite a bit of things that we should be excited about. At the tight end position, Hunter Henry has been an absolute force in training camp so far, and the connection with Mac Jones is being noticed by everybody. And it's essential to keep in mind that Hunter Henry is now playing in a Bill O'Brien offense that loves utilizing the tight end position. When he was the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, Rob Gronkowski was the tight end 1, Aaron Hernandez was the tight end 3. Now, do I think Hunter Henry is going to finish as a top 5 tight end this season? Probably not. I'm not that excited. But if the guy scores 10 touchdowns, which is absolutely realistic given the weapons that they have there, he should be locked in as a top 12 tight end fairly easy. Everybody's excited about Devon Achane there in Miami, and I get it. The dude is super fast and quick, and he's going to have a role in that offense, but I don't believe that role is going to be starting running back. That's going to go to Raheem Mostert, and his efficiency numbers were absolutely insane as well. Yes, there is a little bit of an injury history there, but he has history with Mike McDaniels. Their time together in San Francisco, Raheem Mostert was a big play guy, a big play threat for them. And he's going to do the same thing while he's in Miami, as long as he stays healthy. This guy could be a dark horse to finish as a low-end RB2 if he could give you like 15 games this season. And at worst, he could be a flex option every single week. Given his big playability, even if he only gets, let's say, like 15 carries a game, those are some really big play potential that he is going to be bringing to your lineup. Back towards the end of July, I dropped my must-have wide receivers video. And in that video, I gave you 3 names: A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and Christian Kirk. One of the biggest reasons I put this video out was because I got a ton of pushback when I talked about A.J. Brown in a video previous to that. And everybody was telling me that they didn't want to draft A.J. Brown because they were far too worried about how great Devontae Smith was last season. So I dove into the absolute depths of where these two guys ranked next to each other. And let me tell you, it didn't matter what Devontae Smith did last season. A.J. Brown was still a top 10 wide receiver the entire time. And really for Devontae Smith, the going off that you all remember was only a few weeks at the end of the season when Dallas Goedert was hurt or not 100% healthy. Those two are the key factors. Neither of them hurt A.J. Brown. It's going to depend on what they do together on the field. Because to begin the season, when Dallas Goedert was fully healthy and putting up fantasy viable numbers, Devontae Smith was wide receiver 29. He was barely a wide receiver 2 for you all. If you're concerned about drafting AJ Brown or you have any concerns about Devontae Smith, this video is one that you absolutely have to check out. CeeDee Lamb could be in for a much bigger season this year as well, especially given the fact that they have better deep options on the outside now by adding Brandon Cooks and having Michael Gallup back after a fully healthy offseason. Because CeeDee Lamb absolutely got peppered with volume last year. The biggest issue was the yards after the play, or the deep plays. We didn't see a whole lot of that because the Dallas Cowboys offense was doing so many short passing routes because they didn't have any weapons on the outside to help draw the defense down the field. And now that you have these guys that are either added or fully healthy on the outside, it's going to allow CeeDee Lamb to operate over the middle out of the slot with a whole lot more room after the catch. Also, Dalton Schultz, who was a big factor on those same type of routes last year, he is gone. Is Jake Ferguson going to take anything from CeeDee Lamb? Absolutely not. There could be a place for both, but the huge upside for CeeDee Lamb this year absolutely has me intrigued. People are still going to argue that Christian Kirk is hurt by Calvin Ridley, and that just isn't accurate. I broke it down in this video and even went through some numbers on what this year could look like. Calvin Ridley could get 120 targets this season, and it would in no way affect the 130 targets that Christian Kirk got last year. And Christian Kirk is going to be the much more reliable wide receiver. And with a huge deep threat on the outside, like Calvin Ridley, once again, like I just mentioned with CeeDee Lamb, it's going to open up the middle of the field and allow tremendous things for Christian Kirk. It's barely been a week since I released my must-have running backs. And honestly, if you didn't check out this video and you have any concerns about Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Walker, or Travis Etienne, you absolutely need to watch this. The biggest takeaway from this video was that how many people in the comment section told me over and over and over they were worried about Travis Etienne because he's not a good pass catcher. The video literally on the screen showed stats that ranked him inside the top 10 of yards per target, yards per reception, and yards after the catch per reception. And also, he only had 3 drops last season on 43 targets. That was less drops than Dameon Pierce, who had less targets than he did. That was less drops than Najee Harris, who only had 10 more targets than he did. That was less drops than Derrick Henry, who also had less targets than him. And the biggest one is a guy that everybody wants to jump on because they say he's gonna have a ton of pass catching opportunity this year, and that's James Conner. James Conner was tied for the league lead with 6 drops last year on only 56 targets. That's 3 more drops on only 13 more targets for James Conner. So no, the narrative that Travis Etienne is not a good pass catcher doesn't make any sense, and it's super weird that people are buying into it. He just didn't see a ton of volume in the passing game last year. Now, could it go up? Absolutely, especially if Trevor Lawrence finds some dump-offs to Travis Etienne this year, with Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones flying all over the place, Evan Ingram, he's going to have a ton of room to run. So while he might not be a huge top-of-the-line pass catcher, the efficiency absolutely will be there. And he really doesn't drop that many balls anyway. People are worried about Ramondre Stevenson because he's a New England Patriot, and the New England Patriots don't have a #1 running back. They have a committee. Well, the video broke down the amount of playing time that Ramondre Stevenson got last year in 17 weeks. And I hate to break it to you, there was only 4 weeks where he didn't eclipse 60% of the running back snaps. And the video dives into a whole lot more as well on why Ramondre Stevenson, that narrative about the committee just needs to be pushed to the back. And the good news is that people talked about Kenneth Walker in this video because I list him as a must-have, but he's hurt right now. But he's back at practice since that video came out. Now, he's not 100% practicing, but they're giving him time to allow that groin to heal. So to see that he's not fully back is no concern to me. In fact, I'd rather Kenneth Walker not play any snaps in the preseason. Less chance of an injury. So that right there is a majority of my list, and I gave you some reasons why they are mentioned on my must-have players list this season. But keep in mind again, the videos in which they are included in dive really, really deep into why I feel that way. So you need to go check those videos out as soon as you're done here. Now, unfortunately, I do got to tease you a little bit because there are 4 more players to get us to 15 that I would love to talk about in this video. 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers, but I can't talk about them here because I give huge breakdowns on those players in our draft guide. Now, if you want to learn more about those players, you're going to have to get our draft guide. It's only $21.99, and I promise you that it will be one of the very best purchases that you make this entire year, because you'll find those 4 players in my sleepers and breakout section of the draft guide, but you'll also find exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else, like my dynamic running back rating, which is called the breakouts of several running backs over the last few years. There's also almost 300 videos in our draft guide that you will not find here on YouTube either. So make sure you also click the link in the description down below to head on over to our website and get your draft guide order. It's instantaneous. You'll get an email right away telling you how to log into our website, and then you can access all the information digitally. And one thing that I love as well, the cheat sheets this year, you can download them, you can mark players off, and you also can customize them. But Headliner Nation, there are 11 of my must-have players and the videos in which I included them in. And then there's also 4 more guys in the draft guide that I just can't give to you right now because people have paid good money to get access to that information. But do me a favor, hit the like button for me. And if you're upset because I didn't give you any new information in this video, I apologize. But we're so deep into the off season right now, there's a lot of really good content out there that tons of people have missed. And I wanted to bring eyes to those content again to make sure you all are fully prepared to head into draft season. So leave me a comment down below and let me know if there was somebody that I talked about today that you hadn't seen in those videos yet, and if you went back and you watched them. But more importantly, if you're new here, you probably haven't seen any of those videos. So subscribe to the channel right now and make sure you set all of those videos to watch later so you can catch up on all of the action. Headliner Nation, I am gonna get out of here. Peace out, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.